What tender and juicy drama is going on at your school workplace? A teacher at our school was constantly being reported by her assistant for grossly and absurdly exaggerated offenses because the assistant doesn't like the teacher she's been assigned to this year. The teacher is new to our school. The assistant is related to a high-up administrator and has already been moved several times. Administration kept writing her up. The teacher, despite her protests that the complaints were absurd, and kept requesting this assistant be switched with another. Teacher finally had enough and quit. Admin spreads around the rumor that the teacher had to leave her job for mental health reasons. True story. Lawsuit time. Someone left the freezer door open and thawed out 100 frozen pizzas. We all know it was you, Jeremy. One co-worker had a bunch of cash stolen from her purse. Everyone knows who did it. Not only was she the only one not in attendance at a meeting when the money went missing, but she suddenly started avoiding my co-worker when they had been friends before that. Also, she would have to know exactly where the purse was stored in order to sneak in and back before being noticed. Now no one in the office is talking to the alleged thief. That's our version of office justice since management can't fire her without more proof. Nothing really, but I try to say as few words as possible every day. So far my record is 4. Hoping for 3 today. Currently sitting at 1 word. Dan receptionist happened to see me coming in, so I had to give her a morning. But I am hoping a nice CR at 430 will polish off my new record. I will give you 2. A math cheating ring got busted. They had several group texts set up and one person would get answers from one group and spread it to the others. They're looking at suspending and failing something like 50 people in their senior year too. Happened to my class in college. The dumbasses all used the same answers and made the same mistakes. I think 5 got expelled. Over in customer service, Brenda is complaining about being too hot and throws a tantrum every time someone touches the thermostat. Brad on the other hand, because he's cold and fed up of Brenda's crap, keeps fricking with her and changing the thermostat. Well, I am pretty sure my CEO has been stealing money from our company. I am a textile designer and we have factories in India and China. No one wants to ship our product because they haven't been paid. Personally, I haven't gotten a raise in 3 years. All the while the CEO is driving a Bentley and just purchased a new $2+ million home. He is constantly getting angry calls from our factories whose sum he owes millions of dollars to, 7 mil to one in particular, and I am pretty sure if he went to China he would be legally detained BC of how much he owes people, a lot of which fly to our office here in the States and wait for him for meetings, and he ducks out the back door like a coward. One day he even drove an old truck to work so no one would know he was here. You might want to start putting your resume out there. This probably isn't going to end great. We thought the coffee pot was dirty. We thought the coffee was bad. We got new creamer and then new sugar. Hours have been spent trying to figure out what's wrong with our coffee. It's the water. The water. This is exactly the level of drama I want in my workplace. A bloke in my office is going to be on Robot Wars and now I'm trying to be his friend. This is my favorite comment here so far. A person in our student council made a petition to allow boys to have any hairstyle they want. He got like 300 signatures out of a school of 1,000 but the principal voided the petition and forced him to resign from the council. Sounds like he got a great lesson in how government works. There are 2 teachers in the office who sit side by side, each other passively fighting over a computer. It's been this way for 6 months now. There are other computers and seats available but neither one will budge. The way it works is one comes in first. He starts using the computer and when the second one comes in a bit after, he'll just sit right next to the first dude really close. The convo usually goes something like this. Are you done? No, not yet. I might be a while. Ah, that's cool. I've got time. Okay, cool. This is very odd. There isn't a way to solve this because there isn't a problem other than the teachers being stubborn. At my graphic design school there are a couple of people who are constantly falsely accusing each other of plagiarism. It has gotten so bad that our professor has had to talk to the whole program about it. One of the higher ups in a writers forum I frequent went on a rant about a week ago about someone who stole the plot of their most recent story, straight up calling them out in public. It's not true, not even close. except for a few initial details. I skimmed them both, and it doesn't hold up. But it came out that the person who wrote the new book is also a forum member who hadn't previously revealed her pen name. Half the people are sticking with the higher up, and the other half are accusing her of being a bully over nothing. Romance novels tend not to have particularly innovative plots. After all, it's a real shitstorm. Everyone is P at one department, because any request for services results in their request for a 2-3 week strategic direction plan. These should be simple 1-2 hours jobs. Another department was just caught using an outside vendor to avoid the department in question, and the Cold War just got spicy. That's amazing. I'd love to hear the management meetings after that one. Cops came in looking for one of our co-workers. Nobody is friends with him, so we have no way to know what's going on. Assumptions are running wild right now. Without going into any specifics, we rolled out a major update to our software. It has an obvious bug, and our customers are P. We had assurances from the vendor that it would be fixed before go live, and it wasn't. People might get fired and or sued over this. We have a legit HR investigation going on cause there was a boob grabbing incident. Hope the boob grabber gets fired cause frick she is a blight upon the office. A coworker was arrested for having a physical relationship with a 13-year-old girl. He also assaulted the arresting officer, dislocating his pinky. Last week, another coworker was fired for racking literally every woman at our plant. A brewing cold war between our project management organization and our software architects concerning who has authority over the process by which software systems are built. The architects, PMO, is there to deliver the project, and decide who has governance, but they won't have the authority going forwards, as eventually a project ends. Failing that, employer design authority, who is usually an architect, and it'll stop all that nonsense. Last person to get to the daily meeting on Thursday has to buy donuts for the office on Friday. The drama is next level. Our young, African American, lesbian temp was just fired by her older, white, straight boss. It's causing some major backlash and racial division in our office. However, he has hard, undeniable evidence that she was claiming overtime she didn't work and turning in fraudulent time cards. She was also taking overly long lunches and forgetting to register time she'd taken off on her time card. Overall, she was working just over 1 stroke to the time she was actually getting paid for. I'm one of a very few number of people in our office who know this, but I'm not allowed to say anything due to employee confidentiality rules. So I just have to sit back while her boss gets verbally pummeled by people who don't understand what's really going on. My supervisor got arrested for sex abuse. There hasn't been a conviction, but he's been in jail for 2-3 weeks. Doesn't look good for him. Looks good for everyone else though. Last place I worked, the VP of HR started sleeping with the married manager of HR. She got a divorce, and a few months later ended up leaving the company when VP of HR started banging some other employee. This was a big company, BTW, like 10,000 plus employees. Mike Pence is visiting our building tomorrow and we aren't allowed to use the parking lot because of it. We have to park over a half-mile away and walk. But the Secret Service did put a fake plant on the floor, so that's fun. My competitor's company let go of their most experienced technician. Officially he resigned, but he was fired for racist and sexist comments and overall complacency. However, now they have 3 people doing his job, and the frick ups and incompetence are incredible. Good job security though. I work for a very prominent doctor in my city, who has a solo practice. His wife is the practice manager. They hired a cute blonde RN in her early 30s, married, to work part-time. I work next to her and she tells me everything. Doctor proceeds to hit on her in person, via intra-office instant messaging, and via text. The latter 2 methods cause the wife to take notice. Instead of apologizing for extreme discomfort this caused the nurse, the wife progressively and passive-aggressively pushes her out of the practice by gradually reducing her hours, making her keep track of everything she does minute by minute, and generally making her work environment crappy. She's gone now. It worked. I'm taking a month off before starting a new job. Being home more has opened my eyes to just how frequently our neighbors fight loudly with the windows open, and how bad the woman in the couple is at faking her orgasm. Co-worker had a meltdown and put in her 2 weeks notice. Started kicking and throwing crap. Why? Someone changed the outfits on the mannequin she had dressed the previous day. Yikes. We have been noticing small mysterious changes over the last month in our office. A square of brand new carpet being torn up and replaced in a hallway. The runner in front of the cafeteria disappeared and a few weeks later we got a brand new one. Parts of the hallways have been strangely roped off. We also just had security cameras installed in all of the walkways. The situation was finally brought up and discussed in a private meeting. An employee has been pooping randomly throughout the building during business hours. These have been rather large piles of poop that people have narrowly missed stepping in. This is a very professional workplace, which makes this entire situation all the more perplexing. This person is still on the loose and it could be anyone. TLDR. Our office is currently plagued with a mystery pooper. Nothing too bad. We're chronically understaffed, so I'm boycotting some work on purpose. Like months behind a few projects. They expect me to work massive amounts of overtime to catch up, but I refuse. Was promised an assistant back in April, and again in July, and last month, out of fricks to give. If you've got the job security, yeah dude. Frick em. It's with my ex-co-workers and my barmates. They've all been sleeping with each other, and the drama has started to build. Jealousy and other bulls. What used to be a carefree fun zone has turned into people avoiding each other, getting into stupid pee matches, etc. I don't want nothing to do with any of that crap. At some point it's going to blow up, and rather be as far away from it as possible when that happens. My English teacher is really lazy and didn't feel like grading these papers we wrote, but final grades were due, so he decided to just not read any of them and give everybody in the whole senior class varying levels of C's. Students aren't pleased with him. The new girl in a CS, customer service, just kinda joined the other early to mid-20s something ladies at lunch one day without being invited, and they are all semi-nice, so it was no big deal. Well, I guess new girl is a bit of a crap stirrer and has been talking crap to other people about ladies in the group. I am so excited to see where this goes. This sounds like the beginning of Mean Girls. A woman at my work is lying about having cancer. She comes up with new sicknesses and calls out all the time. She told us she's pregnant with twins and sent us an ultrasound picture. We searched pregnant twins ultrasound on Google and it was on the first page. It goes so much deeper than this too. She would send pictures of herself dead on the hospital table from the nurse, using her phone, to my direct manager. We don't know what to do. Our bosses are telling us to fire her, but we can't. Every time she calls out she has a doctor's note. Check every single note. Reply to every text. She could just simply be sweet talking her provider or have simply started writing her own. I just started my current job almost 2 months ago, beginning of September. Since then, we've had the head of marketing leave his position. Come to find out, he was not only in charge of much of the company's financing, but also the owners. He has been stealing money, over $100,000, from the owner, opening credit lines in his name, draining bank accounts, etc. Not sure how long it's been going on, but I did find out that the same guy was in jail from 1994 to 1998 for embezzling over $1 million. Not sure why the frick they hired him here in the first place, back in 2003. Knowing this, I work IT, so I've had to spend my time going through his emails and his personal computer and shutting down his access to anything and everything. Fun stuff to jump into. Recently, everyone taking AP Economics at my high school answered on every question of a multiple choice test to get a curve that gave each of them a 100%. Lawful evil, am I right? Predictably, administration cancelled the test. Both classes received lectures about work ethic instead of economics the next day. That takes some dedicated commitment. It just takes one person to not do it and make an to frick it all up. Today we introduced a swear jar board, with scores. I am sitting at 1, because the 2 guys who introduced it are jealous pricks and decided that masturbation was swearing, just because they were sitting on several points each. There's a dude who takes like 30 minutes on the toilet at any one time. Our office is small and has one cubicle per gender. It's actively joked about while he's in the loo. Then we have to shut up as soon as the handrier goes off. Not saying this is the same in your case, but I am one that spends up to 30 minutes in the bathroom at a time. Granted, I don't often take a lunch break or other breaks and prefer to just eat while I work. Source: have vibes. So, to set the scene, I will fake name the characters at the outset. My boss is Megan. Her husband is Daniel and my colleague is Melissa. So this all started about 18 months ago. Me, Megan, Daniel and Melissa all work in the same department. However, Daniel works in a different team because Megan can't be his boss. Anyway, we're all going for a team night out, curry, karaoke, blah blah. But Megan can't make it. So me, Daniel and Melissa all go for the curry, along with a couple of others. Come Monday morning, Megan calls me into a meeting, crying her eyes out because she's convinced Melissa and Daniel slept together on the night out. She's absolutely hysterical, so I agree to ask Melissa as we're pretty close. I ask Melissa, who also hysterically cries, telling me that Megan is using her power as her boss to push her out of the company and begs me to believe that she didn't sleep with Dan. I trust her. I mean, we've known each other for a long time. Dan also promises me nothing happened. However, Meg and Dan's marriage suffered as a result of all the drama. Months go by. Megan becomes really strange, starts following Melissa to the bathroom, trying to listen to her recorded calls and access her emails. I tell her that she can't use her position like this, and we do this weekly routine where she cries, promises me she won't do it again, and she does it again the next week. Anyway, it gets to a point where Melissa can't cope and she resigns. Megan walks around all triumphantly. Dan seems to reconcile with his wife, and they start trying for a baby. Last night, Melissa posts a picture of an ultrasound, clearly stating that it is hers and Daniel's baby. It turns out they'd been sleeping together for 2 years 6 months of which was prior to their wedding, and she lied to me the whole time. Megan is obviously devastated, walking around like a ghost of herself. Daniel thinks it's the funniest thing ever, now lives with Melissa and is expecting a child on his anniversary date with Megan, which also happens to be Meg's due date with Dan's child. I made a complaint to my boss that our only manager has been doing a crappy job. Everybody was on my side, until she had a breakdown and claimed she was ganged up on. Now, everybody is trying to place the blame on me. My boss, who is getting a divorce, is sleeping with my roommate co-worker and I am the only one that knows, except for all of you kind, random strangers. I work in a hostel in Amsterdam. It's a quick turnaround because we hire travelers who are passing through and we let them work for their bed, changing bed sheets and cleaning toilets. People usually stay a couple months. There's this new guy who everyone loves, but I am growing more and more suspicious of him. Things keep going missing in the rooms that he cleans. Started off small. Earphones, sunglasses, hats. Last week £150 was stolen and 2 days later he asked me the exchange rate for £150 to euros. He also told me that he is traveling on his brother's passport using a fake name and was kicked out of his parents' house for stealing. I don't know who to turn to. I like the guy, but we can't have a thief working in the building. I've got lots of juicy stories. We get some crazy characters coming through. Do something about that. Don't just be complacent. This dude is really freaking crap up. We aren't allowed to decorate our cubicles for Halloween until Monday according to HR's email. However, they have had their decorations and wreaths on their doors for at least a week now. Post HR's email on their door. Threaten to report them to HR for violating HR's policies. That'll stir the kettle. Recently, 3/4 of the HR staff were either fired or quit within a week in the film industry, and I at least am very intrigued. Last month we hired a new guy, kind of a sleaze, but we ignored it cause he knows Python better than all of us and we need a Python dude for some reason. Anyway, we have a high school student who runs our phones because it's a low effort job that doesn't require dicking around with the expensive stuff. It's mostly low key because the only phone calls we get are from old people who don't know how to computer and the occasional business who hasn't updated their tech since Windows XP and doesn't understand why their machines are so slow. Anyway, without getting into specifics, Dude started hitting on the phone girl about a week ago. She's 16 and he's 35. Gave her his phone number and asked if she wanted to hang out at his place, alone. But he totally didn't mean anything like that. He said this before anyone even suggested it, although we were all thinking it. Last week he accidentally grabbed her butt. I've never seen my boss get mad, but he laid the dude out with a solid hook to the face. Now there are cops. The girl is traumatized and will probably quit. Not that I blame her. The dude tested positive for C, and my boss tested positive for weed. Not surprising, he's the biggest stoner I've met since college. And so since my boss also owns a business, someone is either getting a massive promotion, which none of us are even remotely qualified for, or I am gonna be out of a job soon. Depending on how court goes, I guess. We haven't seen him since. IDK if he's in jail or what, TBH. We're basically just going through the motions till we find something out. Fun times. You have been visited by the Bahumbler Bee. Stay humble and believe in yourself. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check out another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day, you magnificent people.